it, then that does not help. But if you can have a framework of cooperation that defines who are all the value actors for the goods and services that can accrue out of adopting the different climate resilient technologies, then it will encourage adoption and mitigate against the negative impacts of climate change. Then there are issues of financial constraints, and I think they are being addressed in the other pavilion. The laws, regulations, bylaws, standards, due to lack of financing mechanism. Then there is increased demographic pressure resulting in land conflicts, encroachments, and all of those people going on land that's not suitable, and that creates a barrier. Then there are also increased production and market risks. Then there are also delays in reviewing the policies. Many of the policies have stayed on the shelf for a long time. I wanted to highlight one issue regarding the challenges of the science policy interface pertaining to technologies. What happens is that if the stakeholders are getting familiar with maybe some approaches, like many people are mentioning climate smart agriculture, when you go to the conference of parties and the negotiations, sometimes the dynamics shift. For example, now they are saying climate smart agriculture is not good. What many other actors are advocating for is for regenerative agriculture. And that confuses the government, it confuses the different actors, because they are familiar with that, and that's what they are adopting. Everybody is saying, let's do climate smart what? Agriculture. But at the international level, they are talking more about regenerative agriculture. So I wanted to use this example to show you the difference and how this complicates the adoption of sustainable land management. In that when people are getting used to something, the dynamics internationally change. The definition for climate smart agriculture, which in other words is what we call sustainable intensification, is that agricultural practices that sustainably increase productivity and system resilience while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Then for the regenerative agriculture, it is more of a holistic approach that takes into consideration the agroecological principles to ensure social, economic, and environmental sustainability. By rebuilding the soil organic matter, restoring the degraded soil biodiversity, ensuring that you have improved natural cycles for water and for nutrients, for increased production and farmers' income. So you realize all the ideas are good, they are all looking towards what? Sustainability. But then there are intricate differences that requires the different stakeholders to come together and appreciate the differences, and then make choices, and then we have in place policies that can actually support the adoption and implementation of those technologies. So climate smart agriculture technologies are divided into three major categories. Those that are related to soil management, water management, and crop management. For conservation, for soil management, there is conservation agriculture that deals with protecting the land, such as no-till or zero-tillage, and also use of integrated soil fertility management, where you combine both organic and inorganic fertilizers. Then for water management, there is of course the use of the water conserving technologies, like we have seen the drip irrigation and sprinkler. But also in climate smart agriculture, they allow the use of drought tolerant maize varieties, and hybrids. Then in terms of crop management, there is breeding for higher yielding crop varieties, breeding drought and heat resistant varieties, hybrids, and even GMOs are accepted. Use of more benign weed controllers can also be done. Then of use of herbicides, herbicide tolerant and persistent resistant crops. So it's important to fully understand what climate smart agriculture is. Then now other people are advocating for regenerative agriculture. The principles of regenerative agriculture in agroecology include promotion of biomass recycling and nutrient balances. And the practices that are here are common or are shared with those of climate smart agriculture, such as conservation agriculture, of low or no tillage practices, land protection against erosion. Then there is ensuring favorable soil conditions for plant growth by managing soil organic matter and increasing biological activity. This can be done through composting, manuring, moisture management. Then the other principle is minimizing losses due to flows of soil radiation, air, and water. So it requires microclimate managing, water harvesting, soil management through increased soil cover, use of biochar. Then there is also the fourth principle of promoting species and genetic diversity. This may include polyculture rather than monoculture, agroforestry, aquaculture, pasture cropping, perennial crops, crop livestock, mixtures, and the like. Those of you who were here yesterday, you saw what Dr. Emma Naluima is doing. Then the fifth principle is promotion of key ecological processes and services by facilitating beneficial biological interactions and synergies among agrobiodiversity components. This includes organic soil matter management, using planned grazing, rhizobia, mycorrhiza, and all of those. I'm told I need to end. Yeah, so this is just to highlight that the approaches are based on principles, and I want to end with the recommendations. I strongly believe, by just using a few of the examples I've highlighted, that we need a community of practice that can be able to unpack some of these issues and repack them in simple messages, even for the different laws that we have nationally and internationally. Then that can help the legislators to make policies that can create an enabling what? Environment. The second thing is that we need the market-oriented capacity building, where the different stakeholders who are adding values, SLM goods and services, can take a stake. So that capacity building program, which is holistic and comprehensive, must be in place if we are to have sustainable land management. Then the other one, I think, is the issue being handled by the other forum, that there should be sustainable financing mechanism. And finally, I believe we need a national soil and water institution. Yeah, that's the last. That's
okay, guys. I know we thought we'd just break for lunch. I think colleagues who are supposed to present, the sugars are going low. Would you accept? Yeah, even the presenters accept here. But Dr. Loshap here is an exhibitor. He's a man from Cotido. He has a stall there. Nobody is watching his stall. So he's begging that we give him just 10 minutes to test us his stall, then he goes to exhibit. Otherwise, he's come. Your stall is alone. His stall is. Do you want us to continue? I think the sugars are low. Just, I have 3 presenters go after him. That's another 30 minutes. Can we make it? No, I think no. Let's go. let's give Lochap a chance to go for lunch. Even as here, people are slowly. They shall come. Because I think his story is alone.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Okurut.
Take 8 minutes. I'm not giving
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am called Charles Longoli and not Dr. Lochap. I am the programs manager for Caritas Kotido Diocese. I'm standing here on his behalf because he has different engagements outside the country. So I will be representing him in presenting the technologies and approaches that have worked in extreme weather conditions in the Karamoja sub-region to boost food security. So Professor Emeka also hinted on most of these the greenhouse effects, and I don't wish to repeat that. We already know that. And specifically in the Karamoja sub-region, we are mainly practicing agriculture on rain-fed. So you can see that if in the verge of this climate change, we are only on rain-fed agriculture, and then Karamoja definitely suffers most of the impacts, more than any other region in the country. So, as Caritas Kotido Diocese, what are we doing to overcome the impacts of climate change? Mitigating or adapting? Caritas Kotido in the past 10 years has had programs or projects that have been geared towards promoting climate-smart agricultural technologies that have built the adaptive capacities of these farmers. And the goal for the past 10 years was to improve the adaptive capacities of farmers to climate shocks or stresses, and to improve and sustain food security and diversify the livelihoods of these farmers under those different projects. So the specific objectives in these past 10 years are to improve household food security and nutrition security for those farmer households. And then we have to increase and sustain household incomes. And then we have to enhance the community's capacity to adapt or become resilient to man-made and climate shocks. So what are some of these interventions we have been implementing the past 10 years? We have the NUSAF2, which was funded by DFID and WFP. And then we have the ecosystem restoration, disaster risk reduction by CODAID and EU. And then we had the community managed disaster risk reduction, still by CODAID. And then we had the Desire project by GIZ and CODAID. Then we have the ongoing New York program in ABIM, that is by USAID and CRS. And then the implementing partner is Caritas Kotido Diocese. And then we had the Integrated Food Security Project, which is also ongoing. And then the Match Fund 4, funded by CAFOD and DFID respectively. And then, so what are those interventions that we have been practicing for the past 10 years that have seen increase in adaptive capacities of these farmers? So one of them is the agroecological farming system, which most of the presenters here have said already. So we have promoted the use of agroforestry or tree planting, integrated pest management, farmer managed natural regeneration. That is what Professor Moses was saying, that we are moving from climate smart to natural regeneration. And then we have also adopted the use of dry pits. I don't want to repeat this. And I'm proud that I worked with Dr. Paulo Kulo in Abuin. And one of the technologies we are promoting in Karamoja was this when I was there. And this has been disseminated widely. We're also practicing it in the northern part of Karamoja, and we have seen improvement in yields. We also have rip lines in Wilela, that is a BIM district. The other technologies are definitely the water and soil and water conservation. I've put them together. So one of them is mulching. We have promoted the use of mulch to retain the surface water and ensure that these crops sustain the harsh climate. And then the other approach, we have the sustainable water use management approaches. And then here we are promoting the use of the 3 R's strategy. These 3 R's are recharge, retain, and then reuse. So these are technologies which increase the availability of subsurface water for domestic use and for production in arid and semi-arid lands. And some of these technologies are the subsurface dams, check dams, shallow wells, micro catchments, rock catchments, and etc. And that is an example of a micro dam in Nyakwai, that is a beam district, which was constructed under NUSAF 2. And then we have the other technologies under that 3R strategy. We have the subsurface dams. These ones are normally laid across the river, and their work is actually this is a water harvesting technique in areas where there is low surface water. So there you construct again a subsurface well where the communities will access the water from in terms of drought. So still those are the dams I'm talking about. That is Longaro Dam. This is in Kotido. And then we have the Dopeth River catchment, which has a shallow well. And then we have Lokata Water rock catchment. This technology particularly also encouraged us to conserve that rock, and then also access water. And this water has been used for production, and definitely on your right, you can see that they are also using it for crop irrigation. So that is the same thing across Dopeth, where we are trapping that water to promote tree planting around the river banks. So the other one we have adopted is the diversification of livelihoods in the northern Karamoja region. And this diversification has included the use of the greenhouse technology, where we are now growing vegetables inside these greenhouses, and tree seedlings for agroforestry. That is the greenhouse in Lobanya, that is Kotido, under the ECO-DRR project. And then what you are seeing on the right, those are the harvests from the greenhouse. So the other is we are also trying to promote apiculture. That is the keeping of bees. And then piggery reproduction. So that picture you see on the left those are communities receiving beehives and pigs. And then those beehives, we have already established a processing plant whereby we do not want these farmers to go elsewhere or fail to get market. We are building a complete value chain. And this was under a project called IFSP, CAFOD funded. So what they are doing is we are now processing the honey from the farmers, and then we're extracting the wax and other bee products. And actually, this is what I'm exhibiting in the stall right now. Yes. So we are ensuring that these farmers also diversify and do not only depend on agriculture or crop production. So we employ a number of youth. Those on the right are the youth exhibiting their products. And then on the right, those are beehives that we have placed along crop fields. These hives help us to fight the wild animals and the problem animals in the Kidepo Valley National Park and communities surrounding. This has been a very good strategy to reduce the human-wildlife conflict in that area. And it has helped us a lot. Instead of waiting for government compensation, this strategy has helped farmers, because the biggest problem we have in Karenga district especially is the wildlife animal, or the problem animal, the elephants and the buffaloes of Kidepo. So, and then the other strategy we're using is the inclusive market access. So we are now, through USAID, CRIS, New York program, which is ongoing, we are now constructing and upgrading those community access roads. We want these farmers to access markets easily. So we are now constructing those community access roads. Not only markets, but even other services. Could be hospitals, could be schools. So that is a 50-kilometer stretch from Awaj to Gangming, so which was constructed under the USAID CRIS New York program. And then we have those are still other community access roads. You will appreciate that this on the left is a mud. That means they still need to ensure that we upgrade more. And then what we have embarked on is also the use of clean energy. The students of International University of East Africa have amazed me, and I'm really very excited that they are now using solar energy to produce tractors for agricultural production. For me, that is really a plus. Imagine a tractor which can plow over tens of acres using solar energy. I think that is, for us at our level, what we are promoting is now the use of motorization of selected community boreholes. Motorizing here is what we use the solar to pump the water from the well, and then we use the distribution pipes to take water nearer to these communities. And this water, as you can see, can be used for both household consumption and then for irrigation. So we have also engaged communities in action resilience planning in the verge of climate change and man-made or natural disasters. Here we have increased access and utilization to early warning information by linking the sub-county disaster management committees to the Uganda National Meteorological Authority. And then we have also mainstreamed the DRR plans or disaster risk reduction initiatives into development plans of the parish, sub-county, and into the district levels. We have also strengthened the community early warning systems through, by blending both scientific and then the traditional early warning mechanisms. This has helped us to compare the two and be able to convince the communities that these two actually are not so different. And then we have also strengthened the reporting channel between the village disaster management committees and sub-counties through capacity building on resilience. These are just adaptive mechanisms. We have increased accessibility to markets. I've already talked about that through access roads or rehabilitation works. So, and then we have also promoted environmental conservation, ecosystems restoration. These are agroforests or woodlots that have been constructed by some of the projects we have been running at community level. And then still those are the trees. And then on the right is not clear, but those are elephant grass. In Karamoja, we do not have the zero grazing technology. For us, we are nomads. But we want to promote the use of zero grazing. So what you are seeing there is elephant grass to provide the alternative feeds for these animals so that they reduce the pressure on the rangelands. So what are some of the challenges that we are facing? One of them is weak policy enforcement. This one was talked of. Yesterday there was a lady here from Ministry of Water and Environment. She had very nice policies, very nice frameworks, very nice laws regarding climate change, regarding food security. But go and ask her how far with the implementation. Really, it is weak. So that is one of the biggest challenges we have. And then we also have lack of commitment from big emitters. These are the developed countries that contribute a lot to the carbon emissions in the atmosphere or the greenhouse gases. This is what Professor is called Obua yesterday. It was like if we in Uganda are comparing our emissions with the Europeans, then we realize that what we're emitting is negligible. But because those bigger economies are emitting more, it has created a global impact, which is affecting us also in Uganda. So that is the biggest problem we have, the largest emitters. And then we also have increased levels of poverty, which have led to heavy reliance on natural ecosystems for survival. And then we have insecurity. This one I cannot miss to talk about it in the Karamoja context. We are now very, very insecure. And this has led to cutting of trees to protect homesteads from the enemies. So you find everywhere the trees are being cut to build. If you have reached Karamoja, the homestead setting is what I'm talking about. And then in that very homestead setting, they still partition it into households using these very trees. So you can see how we are at risk of extinction. So what are some of our recommendations? We are saying we need to strengthen the enforcement of these policies by increasing resources and then also staffing to some of these climate-related sectors or food security-related sectors in our country. Then we also need to task the big emitters. Those are the EUs and the USAs, the Chinas of this world. Please, we need to pressurize them to either find alternative sources or they carry the burden of these risks. And then we also need to develop alternative and clean energy sources. That is what IUEA is doing. And please, we need to support these people because we need to go towards zero carbon emission. And then we also need to address the issue of poverty using sustainable development approaches at whatever level. And then we also need to improve the security of the Karamojong people. So this is solely the task of government, that we need to ensure peace prevails in the whole country. So, and then we also need to integrate resilience plans that are being developed, especially from the village up to the district. We need to integrate them into the district sectoral annual development plans. With that, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Today we have a privilege to listen to Dr. Okulo from the government. What they're doing is from the civil society group, which is doing also commendable work on issues of food security and climate change. So I want to thank him. I want to thank all the presenters. Let us clap for them all. I beg we take a break. We go for lunch at the VIP lounge there. And let us come. We hope to come here by 3:15. There'll be a few papers, and then the launching of the 1 acre model, the 1 acre outcome project. That will be done at 3. Nothing? Okay, so he says distributing a coupon. You go and stand at the gate. Thank you very much. Please, let's come. These are very interesting things. I don't know, have you heard the story of Karamoja anywhere? No. It's only here. Have you heard about the story of the architects doing agriculture? Amazing. Amazing, amazing. And then Professor has given us everything about soil and land management. If you want, just practice, that's all. Thank you very much for attending, and let's have a lunch, and we'll come back.
Yes, and then once we finish that, then that will be okay. Yeah. Well done. Yeah, but I want to get some other things. There is this lady coming. There is this lady coming from yes.
My brother, let's test this thing, viewers. I'm hoping it's got this sound. Everybody said I want sound here.
You know you're supposed to play from there. I need to get your sound perfect. You're supposed to connect your laptop from there. Otherwise, here, this will not be sound.
Then yeah, no video.
No video. No video. Is it possible?
Nah, it's not possible. The sound is there. The sound is there. The video is here. Yeah.
For the video part, maybe after the
Then we go for the money I pick up.